Hi guys, welcome to another video. And in this video, we'll talk about how React updates the UI. Okay, we'll understand about few concepts like virtual DOM, fibers. We'll understand the different phases of React render. There are basically two phases: the render phase and the commit phase. And we'll also see some unnecessary re-renders that happens and how we can avoid them. Cool. It's gonna be a fun video, and we'll learn a lot. Cool. And okay, the first thing that we're gonna see is what causes re-renders, and they're basically state changes, prop changes, context changes, or state management changes. For example, a Redux or Rust stack, and again, parity renders. For example, if I yeah, I have created a project here, and you can see I have used a useState. By clicking on it, the number changes. This is basically our a render. Remember one thing, okay? Whenever there is a change of rendering state change in React, it never happens instantly. It happens in batches. For example, here, if I do set state plus one, what should happen? Here the value is zero. Here the value, I don't know, it should be one, right? Because it has changed. Let's see. Okay, only one, two, three, four, even though we have written two times. Why? Because it happens in batches. So right now the value is still zero. Yeah, I just wanted to tell you this very small fact because it usually gets asked in interviews as well. Okay, the next thing we're gonna understand is the concept of virtual DOM. Okay, before we understand what is virtual DOM, let's understand what is a DOM. Okay, yeah, I have opened this W3 Schools website. Okay, to give you a context of what is a DOM is DOM basically means a document object model, and it converts our whole browser, our HTML into something of a tree. Cool. For example, this HTML to head, to body, to title. Okay. Now, this is a very demo DOM that I have created. Virtual DOM is basically the blueprint of our real DOM. That's it. Virtual DOM is basically a blueprint of our real DOM. How does it help in React rendering? Okay, let's understand that. For example, this is my DOM. This is my virtual DOM. I have to put my hello here. Yeah. Okay. So what happens is, for example, I change my hello to hi. Hi there. Okay. What will happen? What will happen is basically there will be a new DOM. Yes, there will be a new DOM. So new virtual DOM. And what we'll do is it will change hello to hi there. Copy paste document. Okay. And what will happen is we will compare these two DOMs. We will check everything and we'll see the difference. Okay, the difference is here in the h1 tag. So what we'll do, we'll tell React that this component needs a change. That's it. This is what basically a diffing algorithm means, and the whole process is called a reconciliation. Okay, if I go back to my PPT, yeah, it's basically a lightweight JS representation of the actual DOM, and updates happen. UI updates happen by comparing old and new virtual DOM. The different algorithm is basically comparing the previous and next virtual DOM. It happens in the of n time and uses heuristic algorithms to avoid deep tree comparisons. Yet the whole process of updating the UI based on virtual DOM is basically a reconciliation. And yeah, so basically what happens is, uh, I'll use, is the screen visible? I don't think so. Is it visible now? Yeah, it is. Okay, good. So what happens is there is keys. Okay, each has some keys represented, and these keys get compared, and they help in finding out which uh, which are the components that need re-rendering. Cool. Uh, Back to my PPT. Yeah. So each has different keys, and changing of keys can cause dot recreation. Cool. The next concept is the concept of fiber. Okay. Uh, yeah. So fiber is basically a JS object that contains informations of a component that has to get updated. Cool. JS has like store values like type, props, state, child, siblings, and what it returns. For example, if I have to create a fiber component, okay, uh, just a very basic example, right? Const fiber equals to. What I'll do is I'll put the type as component. I'm writing in plain English so that it is very easy to understand. Cool. Uh, there's a state node. It will contain the actual DOM node. Okay. What it tells child. Yeah. So it will contain child. So it will first child fiber or siblings. Siblings will be next fiber at same level. I'll explain everything and then return parent fiber. So what happens is whenever there is a change of component, right? We create a fiber node as well. And what fiber node contains is these kinds of values. What is the type? What is the state node? Where it is located? Does it have any other siblings or not? And what does it return? Does it have to return its parent component or itself? Okay. So this is what a fiber usually contains. What happens is React uses these fibers uh, to update the UI efficiently. How? You may have the question, right? Okay. So what happens is with the help of these fibers, we break our work into small chunks. And what happens is we can actually pause the work, we can actually resume the work, or we can reuse some of the partial work. What is work? Work is basically re-rendering. How? Let's understand by looking at the different phases of re-render. So these two, the render phase and the commit phase. What really happens is in the render phase, we check what are the stuff that needs to be done. Okay, the whole concept of reconciliation and diffing algorithm comes here, and it helps in determining which are the components that needs the UI to be changed. Cool. But in the render phase, we can pause the work. What is work? For example, you are a user, right? There is a state change, but you are scrolling as well. At that time, during the render phase, what happens is you can scroll, okay, and the whole apply UI changes will will pause for a while. This is what I'm saying. With the help of fiber nodes, you can actually do that. But during the commit phase, the actual changes happen to the DOM and you cannot pause. So there is a lock in the browser for a while, and at that time, there is no pausing for it, and the UI changes happen. And this is basically how React changes our whole UI. Cool. Now let's talk about some unnecessary re-renders. For example, you have a parent node and you have some 20 different children node. Cool. Your state change happens in your parent node, but what happens is there is 20 different re-renders happening in the children node. You can actually avoid that. Okay, you can actually memorize the children notes and make sure that if the value that the child changes, then only the child node re-renders. Otherwise, it does not get affected. Okay. Also, some of the objects and arrays causes the re-render because of some reference identity. How to prevent? Using the React memo, use callbacks, use memos, and obviously component splitting improves isolation. Okay. So yeah, we are end of this video. I hope you guys have learned something. We have understood how React updates the UI. We have understood fibers. We have understood renders and optimizing re-renders. Okay. Thank you guys for watching this video and please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.